Hey, hello. If anyone is in here. Oh, doorbell's ringing. That's pretty fun. Okay, I'm going to give it a moment and just wait and see if anyone else comes in. And let me just see if I can change the settings. Just bear with me for a moment. Okay, I think it's cool. Okay, we're gonna wait maybe one more minute and then we'll get started. I know a lot of people message me and they're just gonna watch it on another time when they can because they can't make this time due to commuting home or being in another part of the world that 5 p.m. Pacific just doesn't work for them. So obviously I'm the only one on video. If you guys have any questions throughout, you can just throw them into the chat box, and I'll try and answer them as they come up or as it makes sense. If you have any, or you can save them for the end too. Either or is fine if there's anything that I don't cover off. And I think I'll just start, and then if anyone else is going to join in, then they'll just join in as they come. Okay, so first off, thank you so much for joining me for my masterclass. I wanted to do this masterclass because I just think that there's a lot of really confusing information out there, and lots of people want to improve their health, and obviously the New Year's is the time when people start thinking about it, but I like to work with people who are just genuinely always wanting to improve their health, and they don't need artificial deadline and to make that shift. And I was talking with some of my one-on-one clients and asking them about, some questions that they had or things that have come up in conversation. And then that kind of spurred me to hold this masterclass because I thought, well, if I'm working with these people one-on-one and they have these questions, what about all the people who are following me on social media and who they probably have those questions as well? They're not even maybe working with a coach one-on-one. So what the masterclass is going to do, I'm going to share my screen. I have a little PowerPoint presentation, and hopefully this will work that you guys can see it. And first off, if you can hear me, just maybe comment in the box if someone can just say, hey, yeah, I can hear you, just to make sure that it's all cool. Just so I don't go through the whole class and not have my audio cool. See. Reception is spotty. As in it's like cutting in and out. That's not cool. I'll try and sit a little closer to my computer. Maybe that will help the audio. Okay. Is it any better or is it still spotty? I'm just gonna give, oh shit. I'm so not tech savvy that I don't know how to fix that. Okay, I'm gonna hope you can use your phone. Yeah, I think you can just call in on the on that email that I sent with the link. You don't have to go through the video option. I think you can call in the audio on your phone. So you could try that option. I don't know. Hopefully, even if it's a little spotty, you can still hear me enough to understand what I'm saying. I'm just gonna give Cornelia's messaging in the chat. I'm just gonna give her a moment to try, and it's a weird clicking on her end. Weird. I hear no clicking. I wonder where this clicking is coming from. Can you push past the clicking while I chat, or is it super distracting? Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and hope that the audio is not horrible and that when people watch this back at a later time, it's not a total disaster. Usually Zoom is pretty good, and it's always been clear on my end. So I'm gonna assume maybe something's going on your side. There is a clock above me. Would you be able to hear the ticking on that? It's really quiet on my side. I'd be surprised. Oh, it started spotty, but now it's clear. Awesome. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go with Michelle's comment. And Cornelia, I hope if you haven't been able to fix it, maybe you can call in and you can hear it a little bit better through your phone. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is share my screen. This one. And we're gonna go slideshow. Okay, so I'm starting. We're gonna actually dive into it today. Okay, so Masterclass, Fact or Fiction, Demystifying the Fitness World. So the first slide, I just want to give you an overview of what we're gonna chat about. So I'm gonna talk about some nutrition facts and fiction. What are the current fad diets? What do they include or not include? Are they effective? And what goals will they help you reach? Then I wanna talk about exercise facts and fiction, different modalities of training, what they are, how effective they are, what goals they will help you reach. And then I want to talk about some action steps. So how you decide what's the best option for you and your health goals. So I'm going to give you a lot of information in this webinar, as much value as I can provide within the hour. I believe that education is empowering. So the more info I can give you, the better you can make the right decision for yourself and your health goals. If you want, having said that, there's a lot of stuff I want to cover. So if you wanted to dive deeper into any of the science or the explanation of any of the diets or exercise options, just send me an email, and then I'd be happy to explain a little bit more in detail or provide you with some further information, scientific research, studies, papers and stuff like that that backs up what I'm going to explain within the masterclass. And really, because I'm going to be covering so many things and there's so much information, your job in listening to this masterclass is just to find one gem, one takeaway at least, but one that's like really meaningful for you, that kind of like hits a trigger for you and you're like, oh, shoot, that's the thing I can do. If you can like spend some time listening to me chat and you come away with something, one super actionable thing, I think that that's a really great use, obviously, of your time, and hopefully something like meaty that you can dig into for, you know, tonight, tomorrow, this week, right away. Okay, so as just in case you guys don't know me, I thought I'd do just a quick short introduction because some people signed up that I don't even know. So I'm Marisa Moody. I'm the owner of Motivated Movement Personal Training and UltraFit Bootcamp. So I'm Vancouver based, but I do work with clients internationally through the magic of the internet. It has totally changed the industry of personal training in that you're not just limited to the people who are in your close physical area. You can work with trainers and coaches around the world, really. You can find someone who is aligned with your health goals, with your personal philosophy, your values, and you can work with them through, you know, online video chats, coaching, Facebook groups. There's so many different platforms that we can utilize to work with people who need and want our coaching. So I'm a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. The nutrition coaching certification that I have is through Precision Nutrition. So if you've never heard of them, they're international in their reach, but they are a Canadian-based company, and they're really based on heavily on research, and then they focus on healthy habit implementation. So their style of nutrition coaching really resonates with me personally, and I love it because it's really common sense. As I said, it's rooted in research. So if anything that I touch on, you're like, I don't really understand that, just shoot me an email, and they have so many resources and infographics and all that stuff that I could send. But obviously I'm not going to chat here for 5 hours and go like that deep into all of the information. So I've worked with hundreds of women and men to help them build healthy, sustainable habits so that they can feel stronger, healthier, happier, and enjoy everything life has to offer. Give you a little bit of background on my personal story. These are two before and after photos of me. Both of them, the one on the left, I think it's really interesting photo because you can just see my body language so much more in that I was not comfortable in my skin. I felt I mean, I wasn't hugely overweight. Obviously, I had some weight and I've lost weight through running and strength training. But you can just see the discomfort in my face and in my posture. And definitely I felt that. I felt like when I sat down, I had to kind of like pull my pants up over my belly, make sure my bum wasn't sticking out. Clothes, I'm kind of always pulling at them funny. And I just didn't feel great, you know, like I just felt kind of sluggish, a little lethargic. And I kept doing like stop-start things, like I'd do some at-home ab workout for 3 days and then fall off of that, or I'd try to like not eat cookies this week and then fall off of that. And I really had a hard time making it stick. And for me, the thing that made all the difference is that I committed to one thing for 30 days. So for me, it was running. I was really jealous of runners, and I just kind of like, I didn't understand how anyone could do it for fun. I didn't understand how anyone could possibly smile while they were running. It really was like the worst thing in the world. But I was also secretly jealous of it. And I kind of wanted to experience that runner's high, and I wanted to be able to go out for a run. So I committed for 30 days, and I started super basic, like 2 minutes of running, 1 minute of walking. The next day up to 3 minutes. And I didn't run every day for 30 days, but you know, 2 or 3, maybe 4 times within the week, but I committed for a full 30 days to be consistent with it. And then if I didn't like it at the end of the 30 days, it was cool. I could just kind of check that off as something I've tried and move on with my life. But of course, at the end of 30 days, I really enjoyed it. And for me, it was the shift from trying to lose weight, hating on my body, like just feeling really negative, to focusing on how far can I run? How long can I run? What distance can I run? And so for me, when I took the focus away from a negative point of view and put it on what is the physical challenge here that I can accomplish, then all of a sudden it became fun, it became sustainable, I was really consistent with it, and then as a byproduct, I lost weight. So I really believe that you have to find something that you love, and I think that there's so many things you can do physical activity-wise that I believe that everyone can find something. And later on in the webinar, we'll chat about a few different modalities and what I think each is beneficial for. Okay, so let's jump right into nutrition fads. And I just kind of touched on a few of the kind of more popular ones. And I like this chart because it really shows the difference between one and another. So really, when we break down the macros, which is protein, carbs, and fat, you can see the difference between paleo, low carb, and keto. So paleo has 40% protein. A typical low carb diet has around the same. Keto actually only has 20% on average protein. And then if we go to carbs, paleo has about 20%, low carb is 10%, and then keto only has 5% carbs. Crazy, crazy low. And then if we go to fat, we have 40%, low carb is 50%, and keto is actually 75%. Now you can obviously find different schools of thought, and the like protein, carb, fat ratios are kind of like ranges, depending, I suppose, on who you're learning from on this. But basically, the paleo, so regular healthy eating plan, something that I would work with my clients on, would suggest foods that are high in fiber, slow digesting carbohydrates such as whole grains, beans, legumes, fruit, and starchy vegetables. The paleo diet would be less carbs than just like regular healthy eating, but it eliminates grains and beans and legumes. Then you have the low carb diet, which would have fewer carbohydrates than the first two, but still a little bit, and likely from vegetables is where you would get the carbs, not necessarily the grains. And then the keto diet shoots for almost 0 carbs. So most estimates are around the 10 to 15 grams of carbs a day. So to give you an idea of what that looks like, that's about 1 fist-sized portion of cooked carrots, or about 10 to 15 grapes for the whole day. Okay, so that you can see the breakdown on the differences between those diets. So let's go into some facts about keto. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Just make sure I have my notes in the right order. Oh my God, I don't. Okay, so when you go, sorry. I have notes that I'm following along on, and I just want to make sure that I say the right thing at the right time. Okay, well, okay. So anyways, let's go back to keto. So ketosis, this is the whole focus of keto, is that when conditions are right, keto is going to put, your body's going to go into ketosis. So either when you're in starvation or you're fasting, or when your carb intake is really low, your body will move into this ketosis state. So by cutting off the body's carbohydrate or glucose supply, but providing energy and nutrients in the form of fat, plus a little bit of protein, we can get these same effects as straight up starvation, which is ketosis. So during the ketosis is a natural process that the body initiates when to help us survive when food intake is really low. So during this state, we produce ketones, which are produced from the breakdown of fats in our liver. So our bodies are highly adaptive. If you overload your body with fats and you take away carbs, your body will begin to burn ketones as a primary energy source. So this is the focus on why people go to keto, why people are promoting it as an effective option, because you're starting to burn your fat stores as opposed to carbohydrates. Because if your body has a choice and you have a high carb, or not even high carb, just a regular carb diet, just a regular healthy diet, your body's going to go for the carbs first because that's the easiest thing. The glucose is easiest for your body to break down. So moving forward, who would benefit from the keto diet? So actually, the keto diet was developed years ago for people with epilepsy and neurological disorders, things like Parkinson's, MS, Alzheimer's, as well as people with traumatic brain injuries who've suffered from concussions or explosions. Additionally, very sedentary people or people who are extremely metabolically dysregulated may benefit from a lower carb diet for a while as part of an overall transition towards being more active and having a healthier metabolism. So now people, because they've seen the success with people using it for a medical condition, people have started in the fitness world to pull it in just for general, well, not even general health, but to achieve a leaner look and to lose weight. And that's where it's kind of shifted from the medical purpose into like the average person. And, you know, it's a buzzword. People hear keto and they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like you lost weight with keto. I'm going to try keto too. But people don't actually maybe know the background on it or why it was developed in the first place. So here's an example of what you can eat on keto. You can have meat, poultry, fish, seafood, eggs, and obviously a really large amount of high-fat foods, like healthy fat foods such as avocado, coconut milk or oil, olive oil, really any other oil, nuts, nut butter, bacon, egg yolks, butter, and cheese. You can have a very small amount of low carbohydrate vegetables, such as leafy greens, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, asparagus, cucumber, celery, tomatoes, peppers, mushrooms, and zucchini. What you can't eat on keto is most dairy, except for some high-fat items like butter and certain cheeses. You can't eat fruit, grains, beans and legumes, starchy vegetables such as sweet potatoes, slightly sweet vegetables such as winter squash, beets, carrots, and of course most processed food. But actually, with the exception of pork rinds, I saw. So I was like, that's super random to me. But I guess it falls into the high fat area. I don't know. That was an interesting surprise to me when I was reading about what you can and can't eat on keto. So here's an important question. Do I need to cut carbs in order to lose weight? And I think it's really interesting because this is honestly a big go-to for a lot of people. Is like they want to lose weight, they got to cut carbs. And a lot of diets villainize carbs. So are they bad for you? Carbs increase your insulin levels, which in itself doesn't lead to fat gain. Insulin is a satiety hormone and it helps you feel full. So it is important to eat carbs. And I think that often people kind of look at carbs as this like overarching label, as in like it's pasta, it's rice, it's potatoes, and it's just like, I'm not eating carbs. And often I think people don't realize that there's carbs in so many things, in lots of you know, like carrots and fruit and a regular, I don't even know, like beans and like all of these other foods that are not just the stereotypical carbs, as in the pastas and breads and muffins and all of that stuff. And then are carbs inflammatory? And really that depends on the person. You know, for some people, for sure, they have a gluten allergy or they have a gluten sensitivity, or perhaps celiac, where it's like quite serious if they have gluten. But I think for most people, it's important to look at whether it's processed carbs that are making you feel bloated and sluggish, or all carbs. So as I mentioned, this is like the broad label that some people just slap on everything. I'm not eating carbs. And it's like, well, are you really? Because like, let's actually take a look at the makeup of the food that you're eating. And probably if you are feeling bloated and sluggish from carbs and you are eating a lot of processed stuff, yeah, like that might make a good choice to cut back on some of that stuff and focus on healthy whole foods, because your body will likely react better to whole foods versus highly processed foods, whether it's carbs or whatever it is. Okay, so carb reductions or your carb requirements depend a lot on how active you are. So if you have too low of carbo intake, you're quite physically active, it can lead to a decreased thyroid output, increased cortisol output, decreased testosterone, impaired mood and cognitive function, muscle catabolism, suppressed immune function. So in general, your metabolism might slow, your stress hormones may go up, and your muscle building hormones may go down. So a couple notes on this. One personal story, I twice in the past, like, I don't even know, 5 years, have tried to reduce carbs quite drastically in an effort to lose that like last 10 pounds. And both times that I've done it, I've totally lost my period. And the first time I did it, I thought that it was just like a really stressful time in my life. So it was like linked to stress. And then I thought maybe it also was a reduction in carbs. And then, you know, a couple, like 6 months later, I tried it again and again lost it. So this isn't to say that it's for everyone, but for me personally, my body does not react well to low carb. And when a basic biological process that's supposed to happen in your body stops, that is your body giving you a strong signal that things are not right. And I think we need to stop and listen to our body, and not to mass media, not to Sally sitting next to you at the office, not to Aunt whatever at Christmas dinner. You need to, it's fine to test these things and it's fine to experiment with them and see how your body reacts, but then you need to be mindful and aware and take the messages that come to you. And for me, it was fine. I experimented with it. And then I was like, nope, that is not for me with my level of activity, with my body. Low carb for me is not right. And that doesn't mean that's the same for everyone. Really, the thing that I want to try and get across throughout this masterclass is that everyone is different. And there is no one answer that goes for every person, which is why just because keto works for someone here doesn't mean it's going to work for you, doesn't mean it's going to work for him or her. If at the end of this class you decide, okay, I do want to try one of these approaches, I just ask that you be really mindful and you take in the messages and the experience that is there so you can make the best decision for yourself. Okay, and if anyone, as I mentioned in the beginning, if you want any more on like the science of how your body reacts when you go low carb and any of these pieces, let me know and I will send you more information. There's only so much I can put into this slideshow. Okay, so let's continue on. Other nutritional strategies, and some people sent me some questions, so I just wanted to touch kind of briefly on these. Eating 3 meals versus 5 meals a day. I'm sure you've heard like, oh, you have to eat 3 square meals a day. That's the way to go with snacks. Or then, you know, the next week or the next month you read something that says, no, it's 3 meals is stupid. You should be eating 5 small meals throughout the day. You should be breaking up your meals evenly throughout the day. So which one's right? To be honest, there is not a right answer. For one person, it might be 3. I personally like eating 3 larger meals with snacks in between, and other people thrive on 5 meals a day. Really, the thing that's going to make the difference is eating consistently healthy, nourishing foods, whether you break that up in 3 meals versus 5. I guess the asterisk here is that the calories that you're eating in 3 meals is not that you're eating that same amount of calories so let's say you eat 500 calories per meal, as an example, in 3 meals a day. If you're eating 5 meals a day, that does not mean you're eating 500 calories times 5 meals, 2,500 calories, right? You're taking like the bulk of the day and just dividing it up smaller. So that's an important consideration. But really, it's what works for you. So some people are more of grazers, they have smaller appetites, they like small, short meals. For me, if I don't feel full with my meal, then I'm gonna like eat exponentially more in between until the next meal. So I like 3 larger meals. Again, experiment, listen to messages your body is giving you, eat slowly, eat mindfully, and then make the decision that's best for yourself. So intermittent fasting, this one's kind of really popular right now too. Intermittent fasting is where you don't eat for a block of time. So sometimes people will do a 12-hour fast, which would be not eating from 8 p.m. until 8 a.m., which like isn't that bad really. Or you can do like a 16-hour fast, which would bring you from 8 p.m. until like noon. And people kind of play around with different options within that. There's a couple different things happening here. Some people believe in exercising in the morning on a fasted stomach. I've seen, so let's see, I have seen a client be successful in losing weight using intermittent fasting. Now, if I break it down, he did 12 hours, so he didn't eat from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. So really all he did was cut out evening snacking. And you can call it intermittent fasting. I can't say that word very well. Intermittent fasting, if you want, but he also reduced snacking. That's it. So the guidelines of having that fasting window where he's not eating for 8 hours gave him the structure to not munch at TV in front, not munch on snacks in front of TV in the evening. So if you like that structure and you want that label and say I'm intermittent fasting, fine, go for it, that's cool. For me, you could also just cut back on snacking or choose a healthy option if you actually are hungry in the evening. And then another link to that is really just being mindful if you are hungry or if you're just snacking. And if you are actually hungry, let's go back up a level to eating 3 versus 5 meals a day. Did you eat enough protein in those meals and some healthy fats to keep you full? Why are you hungry in the evening? Where have you misstepped in the day that you're ending up in the evening so snacky? Okay, another one I hear all the time is like avoiding carbs at night. Like you can only eat carbs in like your breakfast and lunch, and then like dinner and evening snacks, no carbs. Again, could be a strategy. Really, in terms of weight loss, the overall component is how many calories are you consuming and how many calories are you burning? And often people are underestimating the amount that they are consuming and overestimating the amount that they are burning. So those numbers don't equate. And then people are generally, as a human race, not consistent. So I personally, I don't think that there's any difference if you have a piece of bread at night versus in the morning. I think your body can process it fine. Now it's different if you're eating 8 slices of bread all day and then you're continuing to eat them into the night. That's like a totally different thing. But in terms of like only eating carbs at night, in the morning and not at night, I don't like those kind of negative boundaries on nutrition, because for me, as soon as you tell me I can't have something, that's the exact thing I want. Okay, so next one, calorie counting. I do think that this can be an effective strategy if someone really has no knowledge on food. Like you have no idea if the egg you're eating is 70 calories or 250. You have no idea if the sandwich you have for lunch is 300 calories or 1,000. So calorie counting can be effective for you to get a little bit of an idea about what is in the food and just a little bit of awareness. As a long-term strategy, I don't believe it's effective. I don't think that people have the commitment to be able to do this long-term. Some of those calorie counting apps, I personally, a couple of things. One, often they put the calorie count really low, like really low. Like if you put your height and weight in there and your goal and it tells you to eat 1,200 calories a day, like as a general blanket statement, that's not enough food. That is enough food if you're just going to lie in bed and watch Netflix all day. And then, so I find that it puts people in this predicament of like them being hungry and like, okay, I got to go for a run because I really want to have this, I want to go with my girlfriends and I need to earn my calories. And then it's this really mind game that you get into that takes a long time to get out of. So I don't personally recommend that as a long-term strategy. As a short-term one for awareness and education, yeah, cool, it's awesome. As a long-term sustainable strategy, I don't suggest that. And then the next one, removing whole food groups, like getting rid of dairy, gluten, any of those things. It could be an okay strategy, especially if you're dealing with some intestinal issues and you're kind of like dealing with bloating or some digestive problems. Yeah, removing a food group and then slowly reintroducing it to see how your body reacts can be good. Any of, if you go get dairy-free, gluten-free, vegan, whatever it is, the only thing I would just say is this a long-term thing, or are you doing it short-term? Because if you're doing it short-term to lose weight, when you bring that item back in, you're probably going to gain the weight again. And for me personally, how I work with my clients is on long-term strategies, because I'm not in the business of helping someone cut and lose fat for a show or for a photo shoot or for some, lose 5 pounds, go on vacation, and then you come back and you've gained 20. That's not my personal style or philosophy. I really want to help my clients be successful and build healthy habits that they can use throughout their life. So if you're going to remove a food group, either do it as a food allergy experiment. And again, be aware, be mindful, check in, see how your body is feeling, and notice things. But if you're just doing it as a weight loss strategy, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Okay, so now what? Do I recommend keto or other low-carb diets to any of my clients? If you didn't pick up on it on the first little bit, no, I wouldn't. Honestly, I wouldn't. And the reason being that most people are not nailing the basics. Most people, if they're actually honest with themselves, are not being super consistent with really basic building blocks to good nutrition. And I'll go into those in just 1 minute, but let me just go through these other points. So I suggest that you consider your body and the demands of your sport and lifestyle, especially if you like being active and participating in sports or something like that. Your body does need carbs to function at a high level, not even at a high level, at a regular level. Your body needs access to that energy that it can get from carbs. The other thing that I mentioned in one of the slides back was that lowering your carbs can increase your cortisol levels. And so I personally think that most people in the North American world are highly stressed. We're super stressed from our work. We're stressed from perhaps if you have kids or just from your family responsibilities, and life is so busy, it's stressful. I know very few people who say that they aren't stressed. And if you remove carbs, that is a stressor on your body. So I just think most people don't need more stress in your life. If you're stressed all the time in multiple areas of your body's producing more cortisol than it needs. And if it does this at a long-term, on a long-term basis, this could be perhaps the reason why you're having trouble losing that 5 to 10, 15, whatever, 20 pounds. Your body is holding on to it because you're constantly producing cortisol. Your body is in a fight or flight mode and holding on to that extra weight because it doesn't know what's going to happen. It's so high stress. So if you can remove stress from your life, I would highly suggest that. And low carb would be adding more stress. One thing I touched on was I don't really like parameters around you can't eat this, you can't have carbs at night, you can't have chocolate, you can't have blah, blah, blah. That's all I want. That's all my brain thinks about when it tells me I can't have it, I want it. So instead of focusing on taking stuff out, I work with my clients and suggest for them where they can add good things in. So it's not that you can't eat pizza, but can you have some salad with that pizza? Or you can have a drink of wine, but can you have a glass of water as well? So where can we add extra stuff in? If you're going to go out with your friends for appies and drinks, can you order one dish that's veggies? Because you haven't really had many veggies today. So let's look at where we can add more protein, more vegetables to the diet overall, and stop taking stuff out and making all these rules about what we can't have. And just experiment, observe, and make conclusions that are specific to you, your lifestyle, and your body. That really is the most important note of all of this, that there really is no right or wrong answer. There's things that I would personally suggest and things I would suggest for my clients, but everyone is different and everyone's body reacts differently. So it's best, if you feel the urge to try any of these, that you just do so with an observant nature. And I think the basic nutrition things that I mentioned that most people aren't really nailing or hitting out of the park are focusing on protein and vegetables at every meal. That's a big one. Eating slowly and mindfully. So not with your phone in front of you, not on your computer, not with the TV on, not while you're reading, actually eating slowly, taking slow bites, putting your fork down in between meals, in between bites, drinking water. Like these are slow, mindful things that like we just don't do in the North American world because we're just like shoveling food in our mouth, got to go on to the next thing, boom, boom, boom. So what did I say? So the protein and veggies, eating slowly, water consumption, making sure you're drinking water throughout the day. That's a really big one that people are I feel are struggling. Eating consistently, because yeah, you can like, eat well for 2 or 3 days, but can you do it for like a month, 2 months, 3 months? And if you're frustrated where you're at, take a look back and see, are you being really consistent? Like really, truly, honestly. And if you're not sure and you're not able to take an objective look, you can work with me, but also if you don't want to, there's an app that I use called See How You Eat. It's SHYE, and you just snap photos of your food every meal. And you could do this yourself and just take photos throughout the week and then try and come back and look at it at the end of the day or maybe the next morning and like be objective and be like, okay, did I actually eat enough food? Or like, oh, I had 3 coffees in the morning and I didn't have lunch till 3 o'clock. So no wonder I like scarfed down half a pizza and whatever. Because in the moment, your brain is probably telling you that you're like doing fine, but you might not be doing as well as you think you are. And then the last point why I don't usually recommend keto or intermittent fasting or any of these like paleo, all of these things, is that I find that these are strategies that people are using to achieve a really lean body fat percentage. And most of the clients I work with are just average people who want to live a healthy, active life. They're not competing in bodybuilding shows. They're not working to be a fitness model on a cover of a magazine. Yeah, they might like to lose some weight and look better in the bathing suit and just feel and move better. But generally, as I mentioned, the people I'm working with, if they were to master the basic building blocks, they would see that success there, and they wouldn't have to go to these extreme measures. So I find that you can get so far with the basics. And then if you really are trying to lean out and get super slim for a specific reason, then yeah, you might need to go to some of these other strategies, but I don't suggest them as a base level. Okay, so let's move on to physical activity. So there's obviously a gazillion and one things that you can do to be active and physical. I've just touched on a few things here. So traditional cardio, strength training, high intensity interval training or HIIT training, metabolic conditioning, yoga, stretching, and then body targeting. And what I mean by that is like the ab workout, or yeah, like washboard abs or booty builder, those kind of things where people are like, I really want to trim my midsection, or I really want to focus on my thighs. Those are those kind of programs. So which is right? Which one do you do? It's just the same as nutrition. You can hear one report that tells you this is absolute right one you have to do. And then you can hear another report that's like, no, that's garbage. You got to do this thing. So what is the best option to build muscle for definition and tone? Like if you want your skin, I'm not talking like big bulky muscles, but I'm talking like your skin's just a little tighter. There's a little bit of tone in there. You feel like just a little firmer. It's strength training. It's lifting weights. And I am a huge advocate for this. If you guys are not already following me on social media, then you probably, you should follow me, but you would know that for sure strength training, I'm a huge advocate for it, because when I was like more overweight, I didn't really do much of anything consistently. And then I got into running, which was awesome. And I really enjoyed it. And then I found that I lost weight with running, but I had really bad knees. And I was in so much pain at the end of runs. And then once I got into personal training and strength training, I really saw the difference in terms of my knee pain being almost like gone, pretty, like 90% gone, I would say. Some long runs, I still feel it a little bit, but pretty well. And just the muscle definition definition and tone that I achieved, there's no way I would have got that from running alone or cardio alone. And then we can go into all the effects on, you know, bone density and all of that stuff as well. But for muscle definition and tone, for sure, strength training. And I'm talking about weight that is heavy enough that when you get to 12 or 15 reps, it's hard. Not weight that you can do at 15 reps and then you're like, I could probably go to 20. If that's the case, you should go heavier if you're trying to build muscle. And probably this is a whole other webinar in itself around what rep range you should do, if you should do 8 reps, 10 reps, 12, 15, you know, if you're staying under 15, let's say that's good. 12 to 15 is kind of more like endurance-based strength. And then if you really want to build more muscle, then you probably should be in the like 8 to 10 or 12 range. And so if you're lifting a weight and then you're like at 12, like, yeah, okay, fine, this is cool. Next exercise. No. Go heavier. You can do heavier, and that's where you're going to see the results. Best option to lose fat. That's kind of a really loaded one because there's not just one option. Really, so how do I approach this? The high intensity interval training is not a bad option for losing fat because you're really challenging yourself. You're getting your heart rate up higher than you would normally. You're pushing yourself hopefully with some weights at the same time. But in order to lose fat, you got to dial in the nutrition. You can't out exercise a bad diet. Like, point blank, you can't. There's a reason why a lot of people will train for a half marathon or a marathon and gain weight, because they go on these long runs and then they think that they deserve whatever, it's a free flow of calories. I ran for 3 hours, I can eat whatever I want. And then you'll end up gaining weight because at the end of the day, the nutrition matters so much. The exercise matters for sure, but don't let it overshadow the nutrition piece of it. So the best option to lose fat is focus on your nutrition. Find some physical activity that you enjoy and be consistent with it. So I have seen clients for sure lose fat while strength training. I have seen clients lose fat while doing cardio, while doing metabolic conditioning, high intensity interval training. I have seen clients lose fat by only focusing on their nutrition and not doing physical activity, or maybe just going to spin class. Like, really, there is not a right answer, with the exception of you might lose some weight. Like I said, from my personal example, I lost weight with cardio, which was great. But at some point, you kind of like flatline. You kind of like max out, and then you need to pick it up and do something different and something more challenging. So for me, that was a shift into strength training that I needed. So if you've been doing the same thing consistently and not seeing the results, a couple things. One is take an honest look at your nutrition. And 2, maybe you need to increase the intensity. Maybe you need to change up the sport. You need to add something new into there. So what's the best option for busy people? 100% the thing you're going to do. It doesn't matter if I could write like the best strength training program for 60 minutes and give it to you. If you did it 3 times a month, you're not going to see the results. If I write you a program that's 20 minutes and you did it 3 times a week for a couple months, yeah, for sure, you're going to see results. So the best option is the one that you can do consistently. And in order for you to do it consistently, I believe it needs to be convenient. So, you know, somewhere where it's not super out of the way. You need to enjoy it on some level. Even if you don't enjoy exercising, maybe you can enjoy who you're going with, or you can put in a podcast or listen to some music that you enjoy, or there can be some component of it that you find joy in, because if you hate every minute and every second of it, you're not going to be consistent. And remember, consistency is the best route to see results. So what route do I decide to take for my one-on-one clients? And that one really depends on so many factors. It depends on, I mentioned the stress levels before. So what are my clients doing outside of our workouts? Do they have a crazy stressful career, a really stressful home life? They're just stressed to the max all the time. I'm not going to do high intensity interval training with them because their system's already overloaded. I don't want to give them more stress than they need, than they have. They already have too much. And, you know, maybe the person has some issues, some injury issues they're trying to overcome, I'm probably going to do some strength training to help alleviate that a little bit, to balance out any muscle inconsistencies. Really, I mean, that's the whole point of personal training, is that it's tailored to your needs. So there's no one answer for everyone. Having said that, most of my clients, I do integrate strength training. I think like probably all of them I do. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of them I do. Some of them I do like high intensity interval training with, metabolic conditioning circuits. I don't do that with everyone. But 100% for all my clients. Sorry, my throat was getting dry. 100% for all my clients, I push them harder than they would on their own. And I think that's also the key, is that you need to be a little bit in your uncomfort zone, outside of your comfort zone. That's what I mean to say. If you are just, you know, doing the motions and being like, okay, fine, check, got my workout in, done, done, done. That's cool. Like, you're still doing a workout, like, kudos. Don't like negate that too much. But if you're not seeing the results, you may not be pushing yourself enough. And a trainer can do that. A friend can do that. Just even a program to follow can do that, because sometimes we just need a little bit of structure. So I want to show you the next slide, some success stories. So the first one obviously is me, my before and after. Though I mentioned it in the beginning, before I really wasn't doing anything consistent at all. And then the photo on the right of me, I obviously strength train about 3 days a week. I'm gearing up to train for big triathlon next year, so I'm integrating a lot more cardio into my routine. I am an anomaly because I am a personal trainer and I'm highly active. So the amount of activity that I do on a regular week, I don't anticipate any of my clients to do. But 2 to 3 strength training sessions a week would be awesome, in whatever form that takes. At a gym as a longer strength training session, at home doing one of my dumbbell dash workouts, at like a group fitness class. You know, there's a lot of different options, but integrating strength training for sure will give what most of my clients I find are looking for, some more muscle definition and tone. And then this picture on the right, I just love this one because this one totally blew my mind. So this is a client of mine. I used to give her a 45-minute workout. She would do it at home. She had a little like spare bedroom that she turned into, not really a gym. She just had some weights and a stability ball and some bands and stuff. And I would give her a workout and I'd kind of check in after a month and ask her how she's doing. And she'd always like, well, you know, I did it like 3 times this month. And she always felt a little guilty that she wasn't so consistent. And then after a while, she was so excited. She told me, she's like, Marisa, I finally figured out how to be consistent with this. And I was like, okay, awesome. What did you do? So instead of her doing the full 45-minute workout, she broke it into 15-minute chunks. And she basically would just do 2 exercises every morning while she's kind of like making breakfast and doing stuff in the kitchen. And then the next day she would do 15 minutes. And she was like stupidly consistent on this. And, you know, if you had asked me prior to seeing these before and afters, I would have said like 15 minutes. Awesome. That's like a really great start, really great way to build consistency. And then once you have that consistency, we'll grow from there, because it's probably not enough to see results, but you know, whatever. I'm like all about consistency. So that's the path of least resistance. Let's go with that. So then the top photo was taken in August and she was so pumped that she could see some muscle definition. And I was pumped too. So we took that photo. And then the bottom photo was taken in November. And she was like, look how much my muscles have grown. And I was like gobsmacked. I could not believe that she had that much change from August to November. And honestly, if it was not my client, if I did not know her personally, I would think that this is like just some stupid Photoshop, Instagram, whatever, like not true. But 100%, I'm not lying to you guys. This woman does 15 minutes of exercise almost every day. And you know what? I give her new routines all the time. So she's challenging. She's not staying stagnant. Like I give her progressively harder exercises with more weights. And the kicker is that she's spot on with her nutrition. Nutrition is extremely important to her. Extremely important to her. She cooks like 95% of her meals at home with really organic, whole foods. So the nutrition plays a big part here, but for sure the strength training plays a piece as well. Okay, let's move on. So a few other things about about exercise. What about exercising on a fasted stomach? Yeah, some people do believe that that is beneficial because you burn more calories before you've eaten your calories for the day. I don't know, if you like to exercise, eat before you exercise, then have something. I personally don't like to exercise super hungry because that's all I can think about is how hungry I am. I can't focus on my workout. So I personally like to have like half a banana and some peanut butter. I know lots of people who don't eat at all in the morning. I think that's a personal preference. I don't think it is a strong marker to your overall success. Again, I think it's getting into like the super nitty gritty of details as opposed to focusing on the big blocks. So fueling after a workout, I do highly suggest that you have some form of protein within an hour after workout because it helps your muscles rebuild. And hopefully you are pushing yourself to the point where your muscles are challenged. You get these kind of little micro tears in your muscle. It's what's supposed to happen. And then it's in the repairing process that your muscle grows. So in order to help the muscles recover, you need to feed it with protein. So morning versus night workouts, that's really just personal preference. I like to work out in the morning because I have way less excuses and I'm way more likely to just get it in, get it done. Throughout the day, stuff comes up, meetings run late, people ask you to meet up for drinks, like all of this stuff happens and I just like get it, wake up, go for it, get it done, sweat, that's it. Some people like night workouts and that's cool too. Other people find that they can't work out at night because they're kind of buzzing too much and they can't fall asleep. That's a personal preference. There's no difference of like fat loss or success versus those. The next one is like, what about like CrossFit or bar fitness or spin classes or boot camp? All of these are great options. I think what the important piece with these is that there's community. And I really think that's what has been helpful for CrossFit. It's hard pushing people beyond their preconceived limits. There's a nutritional piece that goes along with it because usually CrossFitters are doing paleo as well. And there's a really strong community. And I know that's part of the reason why the success with like UltraFit Bootcamp that I run is that there's a strong community of people there. They've been coming for years. They are super loyal. They are friends. They are supportive. They are welcoming. And that is a key piece to people coming consistently. So if you have that community at a bar fitness or a spin class, or maybe you just create that with some friends who like to go to the gym, that is a really strong factor to being consistent. And consistent is the answer to seeing results. Workout length and frequency obviously depends on your personal schedule and what you can fit in. As I mentioned, 15 minutes is doable. I personally would aim for more in the like 30 to 45 minute because I like to do a warm up and a cool down, and then 15 minutes is just not enough for that for me personally. But you got to do what works, and there's no point trying to find an hour at the gym 3 times a week if there's just not a chance you're going to make that work. So be realistic about what you can integrate into your schedule. Okay, so where do I see the best results with my clients? Just to pound it home one more time, consistency, consistency, and consistency. It's like the least sexy marketing thing within the health and fitness world, but is the biggest factor to success. For nutrition, focus on one small habit at a time. That is how I work with my one-on-one clients. We focus on one thing, nail that down, be successful on that, integrate it into your life, and then build on it. The problem with a lot of diets and nutritional trends is that they're severe and you're changing a lot of things at once. So it's really hard to maintain in the long run. Physical activity, find what works with your schedule. What do you like to do? Are you challenging yourself? Make sure that not every workout has to be like a killer, and it shouldn't because of, as I mentioned, the stress levels. But like, you should be challenged regularly, right? Like, you should be like, damn, that was hard. And not all the time, but like occasionally that should be a regular occurrence within your physical activity routine. And as I mentioned on the previous slide, the best results come when there's an element of accountability, motivation, and community support. So as we wind down the masterclass, a few options. So where do you kind of go from here? I have sent out the Dumbbell Dash 30-day workout plan. If you don't have that and you would like to have it, just shoot me an email and I can send it your way. It's 5 workouts that you can do in 20 minutes or less. And I have little videos explaining them all. And then there's like a meal guide that you can get as well to accompany that, which is just like a suggested meal guide. It's not like a strict meal plan. So that's an option that's free. You can just take that, conquer that for the next month. I do have Women in Weights, which is this one you have to purchase, but it's like a 12-week strength training program. So if you have a little bit of motivation and you want to go to the gym yourself, and you don't know what to do, like you just kind of go to the elliptical or the treadmill because you're kind of like dumbfounded in the weight section or a little bit intimidated, this program will walk you through the basics, show you good form, kind of like hold your hand without me physically being there about how to get into the gym. And there's like a 6-week beginner program and then a 6-week rock the weight room program. So it kind of builds on the next one. So that is 12 weeks long, and details on that are on my website. And then if that isn't enough for you, I'm going to tell you guys about this little challenge I'm going to do starting December 1st. So I did this last year and I wasn't going to do it, but then when I was kind of going through this webinar, I decided, what the heck, let's do it again. So it's a 31-day accountability challenge. So it's for people who want to balance the holidays and their health and start 2019 feeling fit, focused, and fabulous. So it's an online group. It's going to be through Facebook. I'll give you a plan and structure to follow along for the month. And it's based on my Take Back 20 philosophy that you should be taking at least 20 minutes a day for yourself. And some of the days will be workouts, some of the days will be stretches, some of the days will be a mindfulness or meditation challenge. And you'll kind of be able to like pick and choose your own adventure a little bit. But the group will provide the accountability and support to keep you going throughout the month. And it's really for people who are ready to go now. There's going to be a lot of marketing in the health and wellness world in January to kind of like prey on the New Year's resolution people. And I really want to work with people who are just ready to make a change now, who have the best of intentions, but just need a little extra motivation and accountability. So I'll be giving some of my nutrition strategies and challenges within that group, some of my favorite recipe ideas. There'll be weekly group coaching calls with me. So you get lots of motivation from me to keep you accountable. And then there'll be some prizes for people who stay committed all month. So this is a couple of comments from people who did it last year, and I love, so the one on the left, she joined the Christmas challenge, and she messaged me because it was May, and she was still doing some form of it, exercise, mindfulness, something, 20 minutes per most days of the week. And so that's 5 months later that the consistency stuck with it. And then on the right, she joined through Flamin Fitness and joined the December challenge and really just kickstarted into this domino effect of working out consistently. And I love that, like, the thing at the end, where does it say that? I realized I actually want to keep on working out longer than 20 minutes. And that's what I love. You don't have to go into it thinking it's going to be 30, 40, 50 minutes. If you go into it thinking, okay, 15, 20, I can do this, sometimes it just ripple effect into more. So if you're interested, Healthy Holidays, the 31-day challenge, it's $47 for the month. There's a link there. You can find it on my website, but I'll be emailing it out along with the replay of this video for the people who couldn't join live. So you have until December 1st if you want to sign up and get in it. And feel free to share it with your friends if you want to encourage them in there. We're going to have lots of fun challenging each other and supporting each other, sharing good tips. And as I mentioned, everything is kind of like a little personal experiment, right? So like you guys might try something, maybe it'll work for you, maybe you share it in the group with other people, and we can all learn and support each other as we go along throughout the month. So that is the end of my webinar. Ooh, I kept it just under an hour. So if anyone has any questions, I just have to stop the screen share because I don't think I can see if there's a conversation. Okay, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to throw them into the chat comment side. Sorry, I can't speak anymore. Or of course you can email me. I'm happy to respond to you one-on-one if you feel more comfortable doing that. And I'd love to have a big group of people in the Healthy Holidays Challenge. It's literally cheaper than $1.50 a day. So, you know, downsize your latte. Get in the group. I think that's probably a smart use of your $1.50. Sorry, a side note that I should have said, why the challenge is not free, because I do lots of free challenges like the dumbbell dash. To be 100% honest, people value things more when you pay. You've skin in the game. You've paid and you're going to show up. Free is like, it's easy to brush off. So, you know, $47. It's not a big investment, hopefully enough to keep you committed and accountable and present in that group. And yeah, I'm super pumped for it. Like I said, I love to work with people who are ready to go now, as opposed to waiting for New Year's to make a shift. And maybe you kind of like already have like some healthy habits in place, but you just kind of want a little bit more momentum and more support throughout December, especially when it's challenging with all these like holiday parties and it's so easy for the excuses to build up and get in the way. Then sign up for the group. And yeah, I'll be creating the Facebook group on, or the group on Facebook, and we'll all be in there, and I'll be sending out more details to everyone that signs up. Okay, guys, have a good Wednesday evening, and I hope to chat with you soon. I hope that was super helpful for you. Bye.